Huh?
Total sanitation campaign in
Huh.
Rajasthan. I saw in the film that people who have sanitary latrines. I have worked in Rajasthan in this project with some NGO.
Where?
In Vijayawada, Mandal district of Mandal.
Are you from Vijayawada?
No, I'm from Australia. So I worked there. But there is a fashion going that all the work is handled by NGO. Whether it is the making of sanitary latrines or creating awareness. What money is sanctioned, they give it to NGO and they do the work. But now there is a fashion going that 10% of that money is they have to give to PDM, 5% they have to give to project coordinator, and there is very less money. And in this way, even NGOs are corrupted. All the NGOs work in work that way. There was some RTI filed in Rajasthan about this. So many NGOs were fired out of this campaign. But those videos and those coordinators are still there. So how can we use the RTI for this?
Well, you've raised three issues. First, I'll go to the most important for this session, that an NGO must also be transparent and must be accountable. When we made the first law, the campaign made the law and Justice Sawant made the law, we included under the definition of public office and public, anybody who dealt with public issues, not only government, but government has refused to accept that there are others and included only itself. I see the hand of liberalization somewhere in all this. But anyway, that's what has happened. But I'm leaving behind a film with your organization, which is about transparency meetings that the SWRC held when they were accused, because we were agitating outside the Secretariat in Jaipur. We sat on a 53-day dharna in 1997 asking for RTI. Chief Secretary who used to be a very good friend, got extremely annoyed with us and said that he wanted us to get up and we refused. We sat there and then a delegation went in and he said they'd launch a campaign against SWRC and cancel its FCRA number, cancel its registration, because that was the threat. And he showed these couple of guys and he said, ask Aruna to get up, otherwise we would proceed against SWRC. So we came out and on the mic he said, proceed against the SWRC. And if it's done anything wrong, cancel all its licenses. But we will not budge from here.
What do you think should happen to the existing SEZs in India, and what are your next steps in this?
Well, neighboring countries are looking forward to start up with the RTI. Now, what changes, as we have RTI here, what changes should we bring to, like, we can show them, like, what changes do we need in RTI?
What changes we need in our...
So that we can show them, we can talk about RTI in neighboring countries.
See, first of all, I don't think the Indian RTI now needs any amendments. Okay? We are really protesting against the amendments. Tomorrow there is a big dharna in Delhi, in Jantar Mantar. They are sitting saying we don't want any amendments. They are proposing 2 amendments to the law. And I am going to send that letter to you by email and you can circulate that letter. If you all want to sign, we'll be very happy. We have written a letter to the Prime Minister, which is everybody who signed in India, who has had something to do, including minor critics like Soli Sorabji and people who made the law like Justice Sawant, who all signed that letter, including ex-bureaucrats like Mr. Appu and many others, Mr. Yugadar and all that. They are proposing 2 amendments. What are they proposing? One is they are proposing to put file noting under wraps. You know, it's been a huge debate whether we could or could not be file noting. Now what they are suggesting is even more heinous. They are suggesting that all discussions, all consultations and all deliberations will not be available for public viewing, which means nothing. File noting was still there, but you could have seen some other note. Now nothing can be seen. So we want to protest that we don't want an amendment. The second thing, going by all the questions you all asked me, is they want to enable the PIO to reject applications as being vexatious or frivolous. No application will be accepted. Every application is vexatious because it affects an individual. You are asking him or her to show something that will expose their own corruption, it will be vexatious, and anything can be frivolous. So we are saying no to amendments. That's our position. We are saying first implement the law fully and then we think of amendments. Why are you talking about amendments now? Because you open that small little narrow gauge of amendments, you will get one small thing and they'll get everything. So that's what we said as a strategy. And to give you an allegory, when we have a village meeting, we tell them don't ask for hand pumps today, please. Because this is the way the bureaucrats also divert. You're asking for NREGA. At the time when we demanded NREGA, they'll come and say, Acha, NREGA, yes, would you want hand pumps? So immediately you get diverted. Yes, I want a hand pump in my area. The entire meeting will be on the hand pump and it will end. And the NREGA will not be discussed. So for us, this is a red herring. So we want to keep away from it. About the SEZ, I can't do any prediction. I am not an astrologer. But I hope that one day, not only the SEZ, but all kinds of diabolical land acquisition programs, including laws that Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have for creating land banks without specifying for what purpose they are acquiring land, will stop. And for that we have to have a massive campaign. Last question.
This right to information, as you said, it's right to live, and it's a right guaranteed to all the citizens of our country. But when we charge like a postal order of 10 rupees, maybe find your middle class family and an upper class family, and then as the rules over here, it is like 2 rupees per page. There are a lot, a large number of our population cannot afford that 10 rupees postal order also. So it discourages them from filing an RTI. Like, the amendment should be like maybe a revision of the amount that we pay for filing an RTI.
See, BPL families are exempted. I hope you know that. Okay, then I want to end with a quotation. A very, very favorite quotation of mine, and which I think has become like a talisman for me. It is what Jeremy Cronin, South African poet and leader of the Communist Party, one of the leaders of the Communist Party of South Africa, has said. And I feel that it encapsulates the need for right to information, for public action, and for public protest in a democracy. What has he said? What is democracy? Generally speaking of democracy, he says it is speaking truth to power. It is speaking truth to power, making truth powerful and power truth. I think it's so good. Just repeat it to ourselves every day in the morning, and we know that we have to speak truth to power. And the power can be anything. It can be a constable, it can be the collector, it can be anyone even within families we have power. So speaking truth to power is important if we want genuine, participatory and good democracy. So I'm going to leave that to you. Thank you.
I will say that you are not an icon, but I must say that you are an inspiration to many in this country, especially prospective journalists like us. I mean, thank you and look forward to the challenge that you have put forward to us to take our pens and cameras and go to places like Bangalore and ensure that people are not treated as aliens in their own country. You spoke of Chunni Bai and also the schoolboy who gave his 2 rupees to fight for a just cause. So we as journalists have to do much more to ensure that governance, as you said, remains everybody's business. So on behalf of the IIJ News family, we thank you and express our gratitude for taking your time out to being